So today we are very fortunate to have among us PureBhakti.Tv Asrama Maharaj. And Maharaj moved into a temple in England in 1978. And then he was initiated by Srila Gurudeva Maharaj in 1991. And in 1996, he took the shelter of our dear Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtota Srimad Bhaktivedanta Sri Narayana Gosvami Maharaj. And thereafter he got his sannyas from Gurudev in 2001. And now he has managed around over 30 preaching centers, both in ISKCON as well as in Gaudiya Mats. And even now...
No, 30 years.
Oh, 30 years. Sorry, 30,
Not
over
30
30 years.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, so over 30 years he's been managing preaching centers in ISKCON and Gaudiya Mat. And even now he's, I think, Birmingham, you are, Maharaj?
Birmingham.
Yes, he's looking after the Mat in Birmingham, where my
Actually,
Guru,
I'm by myself.
Oh, yeah. Our Kashyap Prabhu went there. I remember before his departure, he went there for a kirtan, and there was a nice ecstatic kirtan there. So yes, and he travels all over the world for preaching. And I have had good fortune of associating with him various times during parikrama in Govardhan and in Nandagaon and other places where Maharaj used to, in those times, Maharaj used to do parikrama and we used to stop at all places. So Maharaj used to come that time, and I had good fortune of associating with him there. So today we request Maharaj to speak about his journey into the spiritual path, how he came and how he was blessed by so many acharyas, and how his life has become so perfect, so beautiful as it is now. Dandat Maharaj, you can start.
Dandavat Pranam. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vanchakalpaturubhyascha Kripa Sindhvyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaisnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. First of all, I offer my most respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my Diksha Guru, Om Vishnupad Astottara Sata Shishmat Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj. Again, I offer my most respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my sannyas and Shiksha Guru, Om Vishnupad Astottara Sata Shishmat Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. And again, I offer my most respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my Param Gurudevs Nitya Lila Pavishta Om Vishnupad Astottara Sata Shishmat Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada and Nitya Lila Pavishta Om Vishnupad Astottara Sata Shishmat Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. Offer my most respectful obeisances unto all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Okay, Ajay Prabhu, thank you very much for giving me opportunity to remember the pure Vaishnavas.
Thank you, Maharaj, for coming here. Thank you so much.
You are saving me, actually. You are saving me from my wicked mind. So this is very, very good.
You are saving all of us, Maharaj, so many people.
So now I want to speak. I think I have about 50 minutes, right?
No, Maharaj, you have more time. You can speak till 9:45 to 10. It's fine.
What time is it now? Your time?
It's 8:10 now.
8:10.
Yes.
9:45 to 10. That's a lot.
Yep.
I thought I would focus more on Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, and then maybe another time I can speak on Srila Gurudev. But let's see how it goes.
Okay.
Let's see how it goes. So, how I came to Krishna consciousness, very quickly. I was studying in London, and I was quite insane, having some different bouts with the material energy, let's say. So I was looking how I could become free from my situation. I was completely mad. I was going to the church, nothing, going, talking to the priests, the pastors, couldn't get help. I was looking towards books of Buddhism, this, that, nothing. I was doing different types of rituals. Then I saw the devotees in London on Tottenham Court Road doing Harinam, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And then I had a book in Nigeria previously, Shir Sapanisat, and I read that book. I tried to read it, but actually I was quite intoxicated when I was in Nigeria. So I couldn't understand it, but I knew this book is something special. So then I went there, they were chanting, and then I followed the Sankirtan party back to the temple. This time they were in Berry Place, not Soho Street. And I don't want to get into all details, but there I met two ladies, Yashashwini Didi and Jagatam, Mother Jagatam Didi. And they were at the reception, taking care. They sold me a book, Science of Self-Realization, Bhagavad Gita. Then I started reading the book, and they told me about chanting. I remember when I went upstairs in the temple room, upstairs from the temple room, they showed me a picture of Srila Prabhupada. And then when I saw Srila Prabhupada, I thought, my God, this person he's not from this material world, that he's like in touch with the spiritual realm. And then they gave me the mantra. I went home and I was really haunted by ghosts. Very, very haunted. I was so crazy. I used to walk around. No, I wouldn't even go in. It was very insane. I
Tell
think
us, Maharaja, tell us.
We have an Indian audience here.
It will be inspiring for everybody. Tell us.
I used to walk around with a big bottle of Johnny Walker Black. You don't even know what it is. A big bottle of whiskey.
Everybody knows.
A big bag of marijuana, ganja, and a Bible. And I was so out there. And I was so haunted. I was going mad, and I didn't know how I was going to counteract this situation. I was just going. Then I went back to my room, which was in part of London called Hackney, off Mare Street. Those in London, they know. 253 bus passes right by. Then I just started chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. And then these ghosts just started to fly away. I said, what? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. And then everything just started to fly away. And I had a room in a house with other Nigerian people. And they came knocking on my door. Obi, are you okay? You okay? I said, Hare Krishna. And then I just like immediately, I started to come back to my senses. And I was chanting, and practically speaking, I was crying because I thought I was completely finished. And I tried so many things. And then just Hare Krishna. And that was it. It totally solved my problem. Oh my God. I just started going to the temple. I was studying university around the corner. I go in the temple for the lunch program. Then after a while, the morning lunch, then morning lunch, evening. And then when I go home, I start reading the Bhagavad Gita. And when I was reading the Bhagavad Gita, I read Prabhupada's purports, and then so many questions I would have. And then when I go to read the next day, then Prabhupada would answer my questions. Then I think about it, and then I'd have more questions in my mind. Then I go read again, then Prabhupada answers. And it was like I was talking with Prabhupada and Krishna. And for me, immediately, it was all so real, so tangible, so natural. Then when my school term finished, devotees, Rohini Nandan Prabhu, he told me, oh, we have a place up in the countryside, just half an hour away. You should come, it'd be very nice. I went there, and then after some time, they said, oh, we have a Bhakti program. You can shave up and come over. So this time I had a big beard. I said, okay, I'll shave my head, but I won't shave my beard. They said, no. You should shave your beard also. So then I was there, and I explained this just a few weeks ago. My mother, she was in Africa, Nigeria. She came, she heard I was a Hare Krishna. She came, and then she also started getting up for the program. After 1 week, she said, this place is good. You stay here, this is good for you. She went back. And then she helped to start the Hare Krishna movement in Nigeria, actually. She was one of the founding members. And now initiated by Gurudeva, actually. And now chanting Hare Krishna in her last days. Amazing. So, what happened? The guru, his name was Jai Tirtha. He came, and I was so enthusiastic. I would be in the kitchen washing pots late at night, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. And they're thinking, why is Bhakta Obi so enthusiastic? Why is he, what is making him go like this? They don't know that I've just run away from practical, not worse than death, walking death. They don't know what I was running away from. Then after a while, I finished the Bhakta program. They put me out on book distribution. My tribe, I'm an Igbo guy. Igbo, we're hustlers. So selling books was it was like a fish in water for me. And I had some mystical things. I still had my stash of mystical items. And I had one thing called word is the power. That if you take this, then anybody you talk to, they do what you ask. I told my sanctum leader, look, I'm going to do a lot of books. I have this thing, word is the power. I use this, it's all over. I'm going to sell all the books. He said, no, throw this away. Depend on the holy name. Very tough. I threw it away. So then those days, we used to go out, and we're traveling around the country in Sanctum van, about 3-4 of us, and our whole life was just focused on book distribution. I didn't know anything about the world anymore, outside world. Didn't know what was going on in England, really. Didn't know what was going on in America just as well, because if I did, I'd be in complete Maya. And totally absorbed. Then about 1980 something, they said, oh, there's Tirthapad, that was Jai Tirtha, that he's giving initiation, you should take initiation. So I took initiation, and then he gave the name Vishuddhasattva. So I was still going out, completely absorbed in books, and really, I didn't have much association with Jai Tirtha, hardly any. I was a book distributor. My association was out on the streets with Srila Prabhupada's books. But then one time we came back, we had a new facility, very big place called Croom Court in Worcestershire. Very, very big mansion. And when I used to go out, I'd work so hard that when we come back for the weekend, the place was so big, you could find places where nobody would see you. And for 2 days, I would just be sleeping, crashed out. And then I'll just get up, load up my van, and with my devotees, then we just go off. But then one time when I got up, everybody was running around. And I said, what's going on? What's going on? You don't know? Tirthapad went into ecstasy. He went into bath. He went manifesting ecstatic symptoms. I said, what? What are you talking about? They said, he's the first guru to manifest ecstatic symptoms, because there were the different acharyas. And so Jai Tirtha, he was a grihasta. And I later found out that his ecstatic symptoms was that he was taking LSD. And then he took LSD, and then he became so high, and he had deity of Mahaprabhu on his head, and he was dancing, and everybody was going around saying, oh, Tirthapad, he's manifesting ecstatic symptoms. So then, after a while, it came out that actually Tirthapad was taking LSD. And so he left, and then he went to India, to Navadvip. And that time I was completely broken when I found out that, oh, my guru, that he has fallen down. And so I was traveling in my Sankirtan van, and I was completely distraught. But there was one book of Srila Prabhupada. It was actually a book written by Sasrup Maharaj. Maybe he lives forever or something like that. And there was one particular picture of Srila Prabhupada. And when I opened that, then Srila Prabhupada was just like looking at me, very, very stern. And with his glance, he was saying, soldier, get up, do your duty. Don't lament. Go out there and fight. And I closed the book. I don't think I've even ever explained this in detail like this. Then I opened again, and he was just like looking at me. And in this way, I just got my strength and just pulled through it. Kept on distributing books, and my shelter was before and always it was Srila Prabhupada. So then after some time, Bhagavan, he came to take over the English Yatra, and then he was initiating, and so everybody was going to take initiation from Bhagavan. I didn't want to take initiation from Bhagavan, actually. To be quite honest, the person who I wanted to take initiation fell down also. But then I talked to my person in charge, Shiva Maharaj. I said, look, I don't really want to take initiation from him. Everybody's being pushed like sheep, but I don't. He said, go ahead, just go and do it. I said, okay, no problem. So I took initiation, but I never really had that connection. Though he was very good psychological talker, this and that, but I never really had that connection. And then after a period of time, maybe a year, 2 years, who knows, Bhagavan fell down. He also ran off with one of his disciples, secretary, what have you. And then all the devotees were crying, crying, crying. But myself, I had never really given my heart to him. So I started to melt a little bit, but not really. So it didn't touch me at all. And I just looked at these boats. I said, oh, I know how you feel. It's okay. You'll recover. So then after that, then I decided, look, that's it. I've had enough. I'm not going through this initiation business anymore. So then I was going out distributing books. And I used to go to Vrindavan. And then I was studying in Vrindavan Institute of Higher Education. And then I was studying Sandarbhas from one devotee, Satyanarayan. Now he's Satyanarayan Baba in Vrindavan, Jiva Institute. And from him, I learned Guru Tattva. I learned a lot from Satyanarayan, actually. I learned a lot. And then I understood, actually, who is really Guru? What is the qualification of Guru? And then I thought, okay, I understand that I need to take shelter of a Guru. I understand that. But this life, I'll just go out, do my seva, distribute books. I know I won't achieve my goal this life, but I'll just be a steady devotee. Next life, we'll deal with that. But I know I'm not going to achieve my goal without Guru, but I'm not doing it again. I'm not taking initiation again. That's it for me. So I think by then I had moved to Birmingham, had a center, but I was temple president, but I had no guru. But we were very, very successful, very, very, very successful. So then one time I went to India, and actually I didn't take initiation from Srila Gaudiya Maharaj in 91. I made a mistake there. I think it was 92. 91 was the installation of the deities, the opening of the Krishna Balaram Mandir in Bhubaneswar. So I went there, and after the ceremony, he was speaking, and one of my friends, Akinshana Prabhu, who was his disciple, he took me to his Bhajan Kuche where he was speaking. And then he said, ask him a question. So then somehow or other, I asked him, I said, what happens if somebody gets initiated by one guru, falls down, two guru falls down? So then it says, I'll just take shelter of Srila Prabhupada. And in this way, I can achieve my goal of life, because it's Ritvik philosophy. I really didn't believe the Ritvik philosophy, actually. I knew in my heart that you need a guru, and without guru, you can't achieve your goal, Bhav, Bhakti, Krishna. This is what I knew, what I learned from Satyanarayana people. But somehow I asked this question. Srila Gaudiya Maharaj, ha ha ha, Ore Baba, you're trying to catch flower in the sky, Baba. Flower in the sky, phantasmagoria. You can never achieve it. And he smashed me. And it just, even though I also didn't believe it, but the way he hit me, I just said, I am never going near this person again. This was too much. And then I said, thank you, Maharaj, thank you. And then I left. So then, by this time, actually, at this time, I was still in the manor. And we were going out, we were selling paintings. Instead of doing books, somehow things had degenerated that we became painting salesmen. And we used to make a lot of money for the temple. And so one time I came back, it was like 11 o'clock at night, late. I was in bottom bunk, and then top was a cassette player. Back then you had cassette players. And then I put on this cassette player, and then I started to hear. And then Srila Gaudiya Maharaj was just blasting. And then I just started to shake. I said, oh my God, I have to surrender. This is a person I have to surrender to. And I was really afraid, because my whole life, I never surrendered to anybody. Even I took 2 gurus, I never surrendered. I never had to surrender to them. I was my own person, my own Sankirtan band, my own party, used to distribute a lot of books, bring a lot of money. Nobody bothered me. I was my own person. And now I've understood I have to surrender to this person. And I was shaking. So then one time he came to the manor, and this like old man coming, very feeble. He had his walking stick, and then on the other hand, he was holding either Satyanandan Prabhu, or one time Satyanandan, another time Chaitanya Chandra, another year, and then just walking to the Vyasasan, and then feebly getting up to the Vyasasan. And then when he starts speaking, Yao Bhagavata Pada Vaishnavarastane Ekanta Koro, and then he transformed to a lion. And then for like half an hour, he'll just speak the glories of Bhagavatam. And I said, wow. I said, this is Guru. Before he even started giving the Bhagavatam class, just his introduction, then you knew that this person, that this is Guru. This is a different person. So when I saw him like this, and I was thinking, this person, how he's roaring like this, where's he come from? Then, if we go to the life of Srila Gaudiya Maharaj, we see that Srila Gaudiya Maharaj, he comes from a line of pure devotees. That his family in Orissa, they go back to the time of, I think, Narottam Das Thakur. And even, I won't go too long into it, but even back in the 17th century, he had one forefather, his name was Gadai Giri. And Gadai Giri was walking in a forest with one sadhu. And there they heard some tinkling bells, very auspicious sounds. And sadhu told him that wherever you hear these sounds, that means that Krishna's residing here. You should stay here, and you should build your place, and you should live here. So Gadai Giri, he stayed there, and he had a son, Gopal Giri. And Gopal Giri used to work he was a treasurer for Jagannath Dev in Jagannath Puri. So Gopal Giri, he wanted a deity of Gopal, of Krishna. And whenever devotees would come from Vrindavan, he would ask them, please bring me deity of Gopal. They say, yeah. But nobody ever brought. So then one time there was one sadhu who had a very beautiful deity of Gopal Jew. And he used to carry this deity around his, with a bag around his shoulder, hanging in front, and the deity would be there. And he would just travel throughout Braj forest with this deity. So the deity came to him in a dream and told him that I want you to take me to Orissa, to Jagannath Puri, to Gopal Giri. And Sadhu didn't pay any mind. So in the dream, Gopal beat him with a stick so bad that he was bruised, his legs were bruised. When he got up, the bruises were still on his leg, he couldn't walk. So then he said, how am I going to take Gopal to Jagannath Puri? I can't walk. Gopal told him, until you get there to Puri and Gopal Giri touches your leg, you won't be cured from this. You'll suffer. So he made it 2,000 plus kilometers to Puri. He found Gopal Giri and then gave him the deity and asked him, please, you touch my leg. When Gopal Giri touched, then he became free. So his line, Srila Gaudiya Maharaj, they've been worshiping Gopal in Gadai Giri for for over 300 years. They've been worshiping. And even his grandfather's name was Bori Bandhu Giri. And Bori Bandhu Giri, he was very, very astounding personality. So much so, and Gopal, he used to be always with his grandfather. He was not always, but a lot of time he spent. And his grandfather even was the person who first taught him Maha Mantra. So when Bori Giri was about to leave his body, then he asked his son, he said, so what is tomorrow? He said, that is one Mag Astami, which is the appearance day of Advaita Charya, Advaita Saptami. All the devotees were going to Konark. He said, when are they coming back? Then he said, oh yes, they're coming back. Then he gathered all the devotees and there had them chant Hare Krishna, and then he left his body. Gaur Govinda Maharaj, he was there. That Gaur Govinda Maharaj, his father used to read Srimad Bhagavatam every year, the whole 12 cantos every year. So when he was within the womb of his mother, he was hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. His mother was always engaged, serving Gopal. So when Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, when he was born, he had so much attachment to Bhagavatam and to Gopal that as a young boy, as soon as he could read, then he would always have Bhagavatam. Though his father was in the habit of reading, but Braj Bandhu, then he would take the Bhagavatam at night. They didn't have a lantern, so he would go in the kitchen where there was the firewood and the cinders. So with the light from the firewood, then he would read Bhagavatam. When he would cry, the only thing that would make him stop is that they put Bhagavatam on his chest, and then he would stop. So much attachment. By the time he was like 8 years old, he had read Gita, Bhagavatam, and he would always be singing the bhajans of the previous acharyas, Narottam Das Thakur especially, and he would be taking care of Gopal in Gadai Giri. The family had a kirtan party that were famous. They would travel to different villages and do kirtan. And in the register of Jagannath Dev says that whenever the kirtan party from Gadai Giri are in Jagannath Puri, that they should come and they should do kirtan, especially for Lord Jagannath. So Srila Gaura Maharaj, he would travel with his uncles, and they will go and do kirtan. That when it was time to take rest, his parents would tell, no, you cannot go for the kirtan. He would wait till everybody was sleeping, jump out the window, and then go and catch up with his uncles and go for the kirtan. This was his spontaneous attachment for Kirtanaksada Hari, for always chanting Harinam. So in this way, his whole life, he was always absorbed in kirtan, and he was an avid reader. He was completely addicted to studying the scriptures. When he was 18 years old, he took a vow to study the Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, and he would stay up and he read right through. One time we took him in Holland. We took him Venu Geet of Gurudeva. And then he stayed up that whole night, read all Venu Geet. He was so happy. He was so happy, actually. Don't even want to say what he said. So he was so happy, so happy. It was myself and Raghava Pandit. So then, in this way, he was completely absorbed in Bhagavatam, Bhagavan, and Harinam, Harikatha, from beginning. That every day he would write in his diary to his Gopal, wherever he was, even if he was not there in Gadagiri, he would always write to Gopal. One time he wrote, he said, oh, Gopal, that please, I do not want to marry. I want to be a prem bhikari, a beggar of prem. So you arrange that my brother, that he will marry and he'll take care. And you please let me continue and basically be a prem bhikari, take sannyas. But his father had passed away, and his mother, she made arrangement that he should marry. On his wedding day, this was when he met his wife. And everybody they were having so much merriment, enjoyment. And he was just sitting by himself with one scripture, I think Gita or something. And he was thinking, oh no, now I have to go for Grihastha Ashram. But then when he got into Grihastha Ashram, he was still the same brahmachari that he was. Now he was very ideal Grihastha brahmachari. That his family, they would have to get up very early in the morning, and they would have to do asanas, and they'd have to do their job. Even as a Grihastha, I just saw this just before I give this class, that he had 27 vows. And actually there's more, there's like 91 that he would follow every day as a Grihastha. How many hours did you sleep? Number one. Number two, at what time did you get out of bed? How many malas of jap did you chant? This is before he's even met his guru. Okay, this is before he was like this. He had like 90 different things that he would have to follow. He was doing pranayam. He said, how long did you spend in Nam Kirtan today? So one is jap, the other one is going out doing Nam Kirtan. How much pranayam did you do today? For how long did you perform your asan? How many Gita shlokas did you read or learn by heart? How did you spend your day in the company of Vaishnavas? Then, how much mantras did you write today? And then, how many lies did you tell today? And what did you do to atone for this? How many times did you get angry for how long? And what was your atonement? So in this way, he was checking himself right from the very beginning of his life. His life was ideal. So he was married, and he was ideal. I won't go into details, so many details of his life. But then he decided, and he was a school teacher. And when he would teach, just like Nimai, he would teach Sanskrit grammar. There was Namkaran, where he would teach them the grammar through the holy names. So Srila Gurudeva Maharaj would teach his classes through giving Lila Katha. And he becomes so absorbed in Lila Katha that his headmaster came to see what he was doing. He heard that, oh, that he's not directly giving classes. And then he saw that, oh, that he's giving class in such a nice way that even his students, later they became sannyasis, you see. So after some time, he got sign that it was time for him to take sannyas. So he was leaving home. I forgot that when astrologer, after he was born, said that this person, that he will have government service, in his mid-age, he'll take sannyas, he will be a very, very powerful propagator of the holy name, and that you should know that he has been sent by Krishna. He's not ordinary person. Krishna has directly sent him. The astrologer, and the astrologer's name was Narayana, actually. He gave this prediction. So then, where am I? So when he was leaving, I won't even go into so much detail. He left, he took sannyas, and then he was traveling throughout India, looking for that guru who will be able to bring him to the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because his whole family, they're in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he traveled South India, he went to the north, he went to the Himalayas, where there were so many sadhus, they were doing meditation. He told them that, look, you know that this is Kali Yuga, this time of Mahaprabhu. And in this age, Harinam, Harinam, Harinam eva kevalam, Kalona seva na seva God. They said, get out. He said, okay. And he'd leave. And he'd travel on train. Sadhus, they don't have to pay. He just had like his, I think, Gita, Lota. And in this way, he was traveling throughout India. He thought that, oh, if I go to Vrindavan, then Krishna surely will fulfill my desire. Then he went to Vrindavan. On his way to Vrindavan, he actually stopped in Mathura. And he went to Keshavji Gaudiya Mat. But Gurudeva was not there at that time. Then from Mathura, then he went to Vrindavan. And there in Vrindavan, he went to different temples, but then he saw, I heard different ways, but he saw Back to Godhead magazine. And there was a picture of Srila Prabhupada, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Western devotees. So then he went there to the Krishna Balaram temple, Ramanreti, and then he wanted to go and see Srila Prabhupada. Brahmananda Swami, that time, he was outside the door, and then he told Prabhupada that, oh, there's one sadhu who wants to see you. And so then when he went to see Srila Prabhupada, then Srila Prabhupada was talking to him and asked him his family, his background. When he explained everything, then Srila Prabhupada asked him, have you taken sannyas? He said, no. Then Srila Prabhupada said, I will give you sannyas. Then he said, oh, Krishna knew my heart. He said, I knew that this is my guru. He said, in my heart, when I met him, I knew he was my guru. And then when he told me he'd give me sannyas, this was confirmation, because I was looking for that person who's coming line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who will give me sannyas. And I knew he was. So then Prabhupada gave him a room. I will not go through the whole story. So in this way, he was serving Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, he took initiation very quickly. He took sannyas also very quickly. That is also another pastime. He was the priest to do the yagya for one Tripurari brahmachari. And Tripurari, but there were two sannyas cloths. So everybody was wondering, who's the second one for? Because Gaur Govinda, he was a priest, because he was brought up a Brahmin, Vaishnava. He knew how to do all the ceremonies, everything like that, even though he was such a young devotee. So then when it was time for the devotees to go and get their cloth and go and change, then he got up from the yagya pit, and then he went and took the other sannyas cloth. And all of them said, oh, it's Gaur Govinda. He's going to take sannyas. Because Gaur Govinda Maharaj, long story, he had asked Prabhupada that I want to take sannyas. Because by this time, he was living in Bhuvaneshwar. And in Bhuvaneshwar, so many devotees were coming and going, coming and going. They were not staying. And because he was junior to them in years in the movement, they used to give so many instructions, and also they did not want to stay in Bhubaneswar. But Prabhupada had given the order that you go and you stay there, that you will see this will be one of our best temples. So he was staying there by himself, basically. And because he didn't want to always be taking orders from devotees who were telling him to do something against what Prabhupada told him to do, so then he told Prabhupada, I want to take sannyas. This was like the external reason. The internal reason is that he is in Manjari Bhav. And Prabhupada is his guru, giving him that Gopi Bhav mantra, by which that Manjari Bhav in this life again will become awoken. This is the internal reason. Because he told me directly, he said, we are in Manjari Bhav. This he told me directly. So when he said we, I thought, oh, me also, huh? But anyway, so then,
Correct.
So when he was staying there in Bhubaneswar, that he would be chanting, and he was in a hut by himself, and on the other side there were some workers. I don't think even workers for him. They're workers, and they were just like smoking ganja, but he was just completely undisturbed. He was focused that he must carry out the order of his guru. Srila Gaudiya Maharaj was very, very, very unmoving in this way, that what order he received from his Gurudev, that he must carry out. That even sometimes, generally speaking, he would not eat till late at night until he had chanted and also translated the books that Prabhupada told him to translate. Then he would eat. Without translating the books, he will not eat. One time he was chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. And then he saw something. He felt something on his cloth. And then he looked, and it was a snake. He just whisked the snake off and just continued, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. So much nishta in Harinam. So he went, he got changed into sannyas cloth, and then he came back, went through the ceremony, and then the sannyasis had to speak. And then one devotee, Rida Prabhu, Prabhupada disciple from South Africa, lives in England. Then he said that when Srila Gaudiya Maharaj spoke, then tears started coming from Prabhupada's eyes. Prabhupada said, oh, he has understood what is sannyas. He's understood. So in this way, he was traveling. No, he was staying in Bhubaneswar, and he was developing. Nobody was coming. And then one time he went for ceremony. It was Bhakti-Daita Madhav Maharaj. I think maybe his disappearance day in 1989 or in the late 80s. And there he went in Mayapur, and he went into a state, he went unconscious. And then the devotees, they brought him back to Chandadoya Mandir, and they didn't know what was happening. Some devotees said, Bhagwan said, oh, he's haunted by a ghost. Bring a ghostbuster. So they went, ghostbuster couldn't do anything. Then they went to one astrologer, Kaviraj, and then this Kaviraj, he said, no, that this person, he's a Mahabhagavat, that he's in his internal state. Then a Kinchan Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, a very close friend of Srila Prabhupada, he came. And when he saw, then he said, oh, Bhav. He took a piece of thread from his cloth and he put it under Srila Gaudiya Maharaj's nose. He was barely breathing. He said, Bhav. He said, I'm happy to see that one of Swami Maharaja's disciples is on such a platform. And also one astrologer from Ramanu Sampradaya also said the same thing, that he is Mahabhagavat. When one devotee, Lagudi, was taking care of him, that he was not even coming out of consciousness. When he finally came out of consciousness, he was not in this world. That he was in Vrindavan. He was seeing Krishna. That he was walking out, hey, ha Krishna, and he's walking off the balcony. He's not seeing the material elements. He's walking into walls, going to see Krishna. And in this way, he was in this kind of state for 3 months. They said that if he is able to survive, if he's able to live after this experience, they say he'll be a very, very great acharya. Finally, they took him back to Bhubaneswar, and gradually they had to reorientate him to this material world and his physical body, practically speaking. And then he continued with his program, his bhajan, and then he started to travel and preach. Because Srila Prabhupada had told him that, Gaur Govinda, you should make your own men. How will you do? You should make your own men. And he said that he told Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I do not want to be the head like that. I want to be the tail. And then Prabhupada said, no, I'm saying, you do. I say, I want. And then he used to say, all right. No, like funny way, Orient way. He said, if Prabhupada says, then what I will do. So in this way, he started traveling, and then he started preaching. And then he was bringing that volcano of divine love coming from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then that was coming through Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj. The time that he came, ISKCON was in a very dire situation. I have told my experience of 2 gurus falling down. By this time, there were 11 gurus originally, maybe 7 or 8 had already fallen down. Devotees were bewildered. Young devotees they did not know what to do. Who is guru? Who is, and then so many philosophies of guru tattva to try and somehow just keep things together, you see. But I had understood what is Guru Tattva. So when he started traveling like this, then devotees just started to come to him. And then because the situation was so dire, then he would speak very strong Guru Tattva, that who is Guru? That Guru is not somebody who is just some ordinary devotee, but that Guru is somebody who is Nityananda Prakash. He's an expansion of Lord Nityananda, that he's carrying that prem, that he has prem. And when he would speak, because it was not just something coming from the mind or the intellect, but something that was actually coming from the soul, from the Atma, then it just affected people. And devotees just started to follow him. And in this way, so much, it started to create so much problem within ISKCON. So much problem it was creating. Actually, he was the remedy. He was a solution. But because the devotees in ISKCON, the leaders, they were not humble enough to actually admit their situation in his position. So what did they do? They tried to uncover. Here's pure Krishna consciousness coming, and they're trying to cover. He said that all these things that they're doing, these are like clouds which are coming. But these clouds, that they're very good, because when the clouds come and the sun rises, then these clouds, they actually help this, they show the glory of the sun. So he said that in this way, they're actually doing their job like this. So let me see, what time is it? Okay, how much more time have I got, Prabhu?
Maharaj, you have enough time, don't worry. You got around 1 hour, 50 minutes to now. 50 minutes more.
So
we have to start about Gurudeva also. Yeah, there's enough time. Don't worry.
Okay. So in this way, so many devotees, they just started to come to Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, and so he'd go to a temple, and then devotees would leave the temple and just start traveling with him. And it was like the temple management were thinking about their management, how their management can go on, and not thinking that somebody has come to give their life to Krishna, and they have been so much disappointed, and that here's somebody who's coming to actually give them life again. But they're thinking, oh, I'm losing my manpower. I'm losing, I can't, now my book distribution in my temple will go down. The money will go down, this and that. Not thinking about the actual welfare of the Vaishnava, but thinking about the temple is also transcendental, but still they were not having things in a perspective. So in this light, then I came in contact with Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj. So I went to Bhubaneswar. I was already by now a temple president myself in Birmingham, ISKCON. And my plan was that I would go and hear from him. And then the following year, I would take initiation. That I wanted to hear and develop the relationship, because already I've been initiated 2 times. So then when I went, I was listening, and then my good friend Akinchana Prabhu, he was there again. And then somehow or other, I was saying to Akinchana Prabhu, what do you think? You think I should take initiation? Obviously, he's going to say yes. Stupid question to ask, really. He said, yes, you should go ahead. You should go ahead. But actually, I had not developed my relationship with Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, but I went ahead. And there was another devotee with me called Atmasrup. Atmasrup had also been initiated 2 times. He's passed away since. So he knew what it is to get initiated 2 times and then go for the 3rd. If you haven't been there, you can't understand what it is. You just cannot fathom what it is, okay? It's like your pot has been broken. Your pot is broken the first time, right? So you just kind of patch it up, but it's still broken, right? And then it gets thrown again. And then you're trying to, oh my God. The heart was just, so then when that morning, now I was a temple president, okay? And I had devotees underneath me. In fact, Prem Prayojan, he was one of my devotees, and there were 2 other main devotees, and we were really, really dynamic team, actually. Very, very, in all ways. So they had taken initiation from Harikatha Swami, who fell down afterwards also. But I was always very strong, because now that I came in touch with Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj and I was learning Tattva Siddhanta, I knew something from Satyanarayana Prabhu, but now with Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, it was like being in the university professor, and you'd be learning. And then these devotees, I'd be giving them the classes and speaking very strong about Guru Tattva, that you should be very careful who you go to take shelter for Guru. You don't know. First, you develop a relationship, and then the Guru tests you, and you test the Guru. There should be pariksha on both sides. I was preaching all this, that just don't jump and accept Guru. And then here I was going to jump and accept the Guru. I knew he's a pure devotee. But that morning of the initiation, I'm going around the temple and doing my japa. And then I realized that, oh, actually, I have my heart is not ready to take initiation. I know he's a pure devotee. This, there's no doubt. But I personally, I have not developed the relationship, and my heart is not ready. I said, but I can't back out now. I've already put my name, everything is going on, it's going to happen in 2 hours. And for me, one thing is, I hate to be a hypocrite. I'd rather be a fool than a hypocrite. And then I said, my God, you've been preaching so heavy Guru Tattva about how you have to be very careful before you approach Guru, have to take it. And now you are the person who is going to take initiation, and you're not ready. And then as I was walking around, all of a sudden, Nam just started to come from my heart to my mouth. And I was like floating, and I was walking, and I was just floating around the temple. It's like my feet weren't touching the ground. It's like Shuddha Nam was coming, the closest I know to Shuddha Nam, at least at that time. And it was just, I was just going around. And then the initiation came. And when I was going to sit in the fire, Atmasrup looked at me. He said, Govinda, I don't believe you're doing this. I do not believe you're doing this. And I just floated by Atma, sat down, took initiation, gave me my beads. Your name be Govinda Bhakata. And then we're going up the stairs to Krishna Balaram Mandir to take darshan. And I was walking with him, I said, Gurudev, do you know what just happened to me just this morning? Are you aware what I've just been through? He looked at me, Ore Baba, ba, ba, and then just kept on walking. Then I understood, this is Guru. This is Guru. This was the first time before I even joined, when I was chanting, I had this relationship with Nam. And this time was a most amazing. Wow. So now we're taking shelter of Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, and then we will stay in Bhubaneswar. And then Bhubaneswar will stay for, I will not stay for a long time, maybe 1 month. Other devotees will stay for 2, 3, 4, 5 months. And he'll speak 2 hours in the morning. And then in the evening again, another hour. And he's hammering. And it's like a surgeon doing intense heart and brain surgery combined, because he'll be working in your heart. And it was so heavy that my head was sore. And most days, all we had to do was just go out on Naga Sankirtan in the afternoon. But someday it was just so intense that I would just have to lay down. It was just like too much intense bhakti. He was just pumping into us. So much so that we were like in a Goloka bubble. The material world was out there, but he had created by his sound vibration a whole kind of protection. And we're in that protection. And we were like sealed tight in this spiritual protection that he'd given by his Harikatha. It was amazing. That after one time I left Bhubaneswar, I went to Krishna Balaram Mandir in Vrindavan. And then when I went to take darshan of deities, Radha Shyam Sundar, then I saw that Radha Shyam Sundar, they were no more stone, they were alive. And then I said, then he always used to say, Shuta Ichita Patan, that this is the path where Shuta, first you hear, then you see. And what he spoke practically would come to life. That I look in deities, wow, that's not stone. They're actually alive. That was just, all we had to do was just hear. Just go, he said, just come and you just hear Harikatha. So most important, that we should always put ourselves in a position that if we have not come to this point of Nishta, being fixed, we talk about Guru Nishta. Who has Guru Nishta? That person who has Nishta and Bhakti has Guru Nishta. So until we come to that point where we're really fixed, because I asked him, I said, at what point does that devotee, can he, if the spiritual master has left, that he can keep on going without having to take shelter of a Shiksha Guru who's physically present? He said, Nishta. At least devotee should be Nishta. One who is still going through the stage of Anata Nivritti and has not really become fixed in Nishta, Ruchi stage. Then though we have our Nishta in our Guru, but generally speaking, it's not like automatically hard and fast rules, but generally speaking, one needs to keep on going, to keep on striving. Jive shakshat nahitate guru chetarupa. That the Guru, Diksha Guru, then he manifests through a Shiksha Guru who will help. Guru is departed, he's in Golok Vrindavan. But by his mercy, then another manifestation of Guru is coming, and he's helping to continue that work of Gurudev so that one can become fixed and then one can really serve one's Guru. So he was teaching us like this, that we should always put ourselves in a position where we can hear from pure Vaishnavas. And he said that these pure Vaishnavas, that they're always on the planet. that we should not think that there's a time when such pure devotees are not around, but that they're always there. Just like there's no value to this universe without the sun and the moon, so there's no value to this world without pure devotees who are traversing. So when he would come to the West, we would travel with him. And then we'd go, one time we had like 3 vans, Mercedes vans, big vans traveling, full of devotees. Prem Prayojan had 1 van, he had the Nityananda van, I had 1 van, Gauranga van, and Ramkanta, he had his own van. And we went France, Spain, Portugal, just hearing this Harikatha. And he so much cleansed our hearts that really we were, though conditioned souls, so much realization was coming by his mercy. It's called Taranga Rangini. We have not really come to that high level, but because we're in the waves of his bhakti, then we're also floating on those, surfing on those waves by his mercy. So in this way, Srila Gaur Maharaj, he was traveling and preaching. And then one time in 96, then he went to Mayapur for the festival, and I was there. And they actually, Shuddha Dwaiti Maharaj, he had just come out with 1 book, Guru Tattva, and he was distributing this book. And he and Shoti Maharaj, they're companions, and they're distributing these books in ISKCON. And it's like, I think he's now come out with the book again. And now it's revealing what is position of Guru. So they're distributing this book, and all the Bengali devotees were gonna beat them up. And Shoti Maharaj was supposed to be the bodyguard of Shuddha Dwaiti Maharaj. And then Shoti Maharaj, he was playing like if he knew martial arts. But then he came, he said, look, I've never had a fight in my life. What am I gonna do? These guys are gonna kill us. And then same time they were grilling Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj. They're saying that this Jayantakrit, his name, he's got his power from Gaur Govinda Maharaj. So if we, I don't even want to say, somehow they said that if Gaur Govinda Maharaj is that, then automatically Jayantakrit will lose all his power. And they really gave him such a hard time. They really gave him such a hard time. Actually, this was not 96, this was 95, 94. And then that time, Gaur Govinda Maharaj came, and then because whenever there was GBC meetings, then after we come back to Bhubaneswar, he would just have a meeting in the courtyard, and all the devotees would come. And as far as possible, he'd just tell us everything. Gaur Govinda Maharaj was very open, like a child, actually. After some time in ISKCON, he learned that he couldn't be like that all the time, okay? But that's just his nature. That when he would speak, he would boom, and sannyasis would be afraid to go and sit in front of him. Gurus would be afraid, because he said, Maharaj, speak. And because they didn't know this Siddhanta, they'd be afraid. So, but then as soon as he got off finish his class, go Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripasan Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. And then come from the Vyasa-san. Then when he speak, practically speaking, you need a sound system to put to his mouth to hear him. He spoke so softly, complete transformation, so softly, so gently, and never say anything about any bad about anybody, though he was so harassed, actually. Now they're glorifying him, but they weren't glorifying him back then. Now that he's not physically there, they're glorifying him. Anyway, Hare Krishna. So in 96, again, they were giving him so much heavy times in the GBC meeting. I wasn't in the meetings, but I was there with him after. And then one time he looked at me, he said, this place is so nasty, I don't want to stay here. It's so nasty. So then he said that. This was like about 2 o'clock in the daytime. And then in the early evening, Gaur Arti time, I spaced out. I wasn't with them. I actually went to the gate to get a pizza. And in that time, two devotees were followers of Gurudeva, disciples of Srila Prabhupada. They were asking him, how is it that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent 18 years in Jagannath Puri? And then Srila Gaura Maharaj, he told the pastime, 3 logs of wood, where, time is it? I won't go into the whole story, but it's when Krishna is sleeping in Dwarka, and then Narada Muni and Uddhava, they come to his side because he's supposed to be at the meeting hall, but he's still asleep, and they know that he's absorbed in Vraj Leela, and then they decide that Narada Muni should play Vraj Leela Kahani, but they understand that if Narada Muni starts to sing Vraj Leela Kahani, that Krishna will, in this state, he's absorbed in Vraj, that in this state he'll get up, and that he'll automatically he'll be in Vraj Bhav too much. So they said, prepare the horse, his chariot. They brought the Ruka to be ready to take him to Vraj. And then, but Narada Muni, he wanted Uddhava that he should go to Vraj and tell the Brijbasis that Krishna's coming. Uddhava said respectfully that it would not be a good idea because I already went, told him he was coming so many years ago, and he has not come. Then Baladev came. They said, Baladev, that you go. And then Baladev also, he started to lament that I also went to Vraj. I told the Brijbasis that Krishna's coming. And though I kept on telling Krishna to go, Krishna didn't go. And he was crying. And then Subhadra's sister came in and she said, don't worry, I'll go. So they prepared Subhadra's chariot. And then in the meantime, Balaram said, oh, if Krishna and Subhadra are going, I am also going to prepare my chariot. So then Baldev went first, Subhadra went second, and then they sung Vraj Leela Kahani. Krishna came to consciousness, immediately got in his chariot, and he went there. And as Srila Gaura Maharaj was telling this pastime, I cut it short. Then when Krishna, first Baladev arrived, and then he saw the state of the Brijbasis, and then his eyes became very big, his arms went in his body, his legs went in his body, he became stunned. Subhadra, she went, but she did not even make it to Nandagaon, but was seeing the situation of Brijbasis, her eyes became very big, and her arms and legs went in the body. And then when Krishna, he came, and then Krishna, he came to a place, Nidhuvan, in Vrindavan. And just at Nidhuvan, Radharani is there with Lalita, Vishaka, Tungavidya, and Sakis, and they're fanning her. She's in her last breath. But this breeze touches the cloth of Krishna, and it goes to Srimati Radharani. In the meantime, Krishna has seen Radharani, and his eyes also became very big, and his arms and legs went in his body. This is Mahabhav Prakash. This is 3 logs of wood floating in the ocean of, especially Krishna, in Radha Bhav, in Radha Prem. So he's stunned, and the smell of his cloth goes in the nostril of Radharani, and she sees Krishna in this state, stunned. And then she says, oh, Lalita, help him. Oh, Vishake, help him. And Vishaka starts to sing very sweetly. Radhe, 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Radhe, 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Vrishabhanu Nandini, Radhe, Radhe, Asta Sakhi Siromani Radhe. And then as Srila Gaura Maharaj was telling this pastime, and this meeting now of Radha and Krishna, then he could not speak anymore, and his voice was choking. And then he just told the devotees, Nam Koro, chant the holy names. Then one of my god brothers went and brought a picture of Gopal and put on his chest. He was now down, and then holding this and looking at Gopal, then he just left this world. chanting Harinam and with his Gopal. So Ramananda Prabhu, he sang this song in the beginning that, what is this song? Paramananda He Madhava. That, oh supremely blissful Madhava, honey is dripping from your lotus feet. Drink that honey and blissfully chant Hari Hari. One should make a raft with the name of Sri Hari. Chokadola will then ferry you across this ocean of material existence. May my mind forever dwell in the lotus feet of that Chakadola, of that Krishna. May my mind forever dwell at his lotus feet while chanting Ha Krishna, Ha Krishna. May my life heirs leave this body. May my life heirs leave this body while chanting Ha Krishna. O beloved of Radha, please deliver me. O beloved of Radha, please deliver me. O beloved of Radha, please deliver me. As he sang this every day, this is how he left the world. Amazing. 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 So at that time, so I came in the room and there were some devotees, some this kind of, even he left in such an auspicious way, supremely auspicious, perfect. They could not still accept it. They could not still accept it. They could not still accept it. I don't even want to discuss that. So then, because earlier that day, he had told me, this is such a nasty place. I don't want to stay here. Of course, it's Mayapur. It is the most holy of dhams. It's the most holy place. But because of the treatment that he was receiving, he did not want to be in that atmosphere that was created by that situation. And I was just a young devotee. Actually, just a couple of months before that, I was with him in Africa. He had gone to Nigeria. And I was there because I had buried my father. After I buried my father, then because the son, I hadn't seen my parents for like 20 years, but I went, did what I was supposed to do as the son, blah, blah, blah. Then Srila Gaudiya came to Nigeria and then I stayed with him. Then we came to Mayapur and then this happened, you see. I had first buried my father, material father, and then now this happened. And the devotees were like really stunned. They were stunned. They like didn't know head to toe, left or right. So I kind of had to manage, okay? I had to manage. So they took, so I said, we're going back to Bhubaneswar. And so GBC members were telling me back to Chumar saying, but he's left in Mayapur, most auspicious place. Even today, my god brothers are arguing about this. I never get in the argument, actually. I never get involved because my name doesn't come up and it's okay. But I'm the one responsible. So then he took me to Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj. And Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj was saying that he's left in Mayapur, very auspicious. And somehow, like a fool, I knew of Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, but when that time in ISKCON, we're not ISKCON bubble. I was with Srila Gaudiya Maharaj also by this time, so there was no need to go anywhere. So I was just thinking that he did not want to stay. I remember what he told me before. I said, Maharaj respects, but we're going to Bhubaneswar. So then one of his followers, Prabhupada, said, you've made a big aparad. You've made offense. Years after I went to Srila Bhakti Pramod Maharaj, I said, please forgive me my offenses. And he remembered me. He said, no. It was his desire. It was his desire. It's okay. You see. So I said, phew. So then we drove to Bhubaneswar that night. And then in the morning, then Samadhi was done. We did Samadhi. Then after, we went back to Mayapur. So then from Mayapur, about 8 of us, we went over the Ganga and we went straight to Gurudev's mat. Then at that time, there was, before the parikrama, so the sannyasis were sitting on table up in Devananda Gaudiya mat. They had a table, Param Pujapad, Srila Bhaktivinoda Vaman Goswami Maharaj, Param Pujapad, Srila Bhaktivinoda Tirukara Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Sambhu sannyasis, and then so many brahmacharis. The hall was upstairs, was full by Gurudev and Srila Vaman Maharaj's room. And so we were at the back, 8 of us, and Gurudev was there. So then at that time, when I saw Gurudev, because I knew of Srila Gurudev. And sometime when we were having Mayapur festival, Gurudev came in and then went out. And even when, after first guru, second guru, in my mind, thought, maybe I should go to Srila Narayana Maharaj and take shelter. This came in my mind. And then I thought, if I do that, I have to leave ISKCON. No, I don't want to leave ISKCON. So then I just put that out of my mind. But then when I was with Srila Gaudiya Maharaj, there was no need for me to go anywhere. I mean, we were so close to Puri for like the whole time. We never went to Puri, nothing, nothing. We were just there in that Goloka bubble. And we had no desire to go anywhere, at least me. So then just seeing Gurudev from that distance, then immediately, without a word, then I knew this is the person who I'll take shelter of. Immediately, my heart totally went to Gurudev, just like that. I did not plan anything. I had no intention. But as soon as I went there, then I knew, oh, this is my Shiksha Guru, like that. But I was a temple president. I was in ISKCON. I didn't say anything to any devotees. Then after Gurudev, he finished. Then, what time is it? He took us into his room. Then we start to explain what happened. Look, this thing is public, huh? Gurudev said they're going to try and kill your bhakti. He told us, actually. He told us. And I felt like that. ISKCON people may be listening. What can I say? I'm sorry. I felt like that. So then, because I'm not even going to justify what I said. It's like that. It's like that. And what Gurudev said was true. For me, it's true, 100%. So then, we went back. And at this point, then I knew that I'm going to be with Srila Narayana Maharaj. But I didn't tell anybody. I remember Srila Dwaiti Maharaj was in that group. And when walking away, I was actually really shook by this whole experience of meeting Gurudev. And he was saying, are you okay? You okay? I said, yeah. I'm okay. No problem. I'm okay. No problem. But I had just been through like an amazing experience. And then I was thinking how I'm going to be with Gurudev. How I'm going to be with Gurudev. I'm glad that God has blessed me with a cunning, conniving mind, because I just kept it to myself. I said, let's see how this is going to play out. So then we went back to England. This was February, March. And around that time, actually, Brajnath Prabhu, he had taken shelter of Gurudev and he was coming over to Mayapur. And I think he was planning Gurudev's first trip, because he was coming and befriending me and, hey, how you doing? And something was up. I know, I'm not a fool, I know. he wasn't just befriending me for no reason. Something was up. So in the summertime, then Gurudev, he did his first tour to Holland, to Europe, and first place he went was Holland. So then by this time, our temple, our small ISKCON Mat, it was originally a small book distribution firehouse. It was like amazing. But because the disciples were disciples of Harikatha Maharaj, and I had a bit of a head-to-head with Harikatha Maharaj because he banned Srila Gaudiya Maharaj from traveling in his zone. That's another story. I never talked about that. He banned him from traveling. And I found out from a friend, and I called him up, and he tried to dodge it. And I said, no. I heard you, this is your doing, not your temple president's. He didn't know I was initiated by Srila Gaudiya Maharaj by this time. And then, you know, he tried to dodge it, blah, 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 blah. So then there was a little war going on, and I did a very bad thing. Praying Projan, I said, look, you know, the war is going on, and you're on the other side with your Gurudev. I said, it's time for you to go. My other devotees, I said, okay, let's split. And they actually cried. They cried. You know, we were so close. I did a bad thing. That time, I admit 100%, I did a bad thing. I did a bad thing. And so then now, the temple was only disciples of Gaudiya Maharaj. We had Nuru Hari was there. Oh, you don't know these. Ragnar Bhatta, he was my vice president. So then Ragnar Bhatta immediately went to Gurudev in Holland. And he said, you should come to England, to Birmingham. My temple president is very, very open-minded. And if you come, no problem. He'll accept you with open arms. Now, nobody knows that in my heart, I've already surrendered to Gurudev. And I'm just waiting to see how this is going to play out. And so now Ragnar Bhatta, who's a live wire, he's gone and invited Gurudev to the temple. Meantime, the GBC, Sri Ramaraj, he rings me up and he says, so Govi, I hope you're not having Narayana Maharaj at the temple. I said, no problem. We're not having him. Not knowing that Ragnar Bhatta is already arranged. So then in the meantime, Ragnar Bhatta tells me. And so then Sri Ramaraj again calls me up. Govi, is he coming? He said, I know him. If he comes, he's going to take everybody. I know him. He was panicking, you know. So then, if Sri Maharaj watches this, Jai Maharaj. So then, at that time, we had a meeting, and we're all God brothers and God sisters. So then we decide, okay, we're going to tell them in ISKCON that we have to have him because we've already invited him, and we don't want to make Vaishnava Aparad, but we will never do it again. Okay, this is what we're going to tell them. So then this was our line. We're going to invite them. So then, in the meantime, not the GBC, but the General Secretary of England, he calls me up and he says, hey, Govi, you know, Narayana Maharaj is coming. He's traveling in England. And by this time, all the devotees in the temple, they had all got ready that wherever Gurudev was going, everybody was going to follow, including all the new devotees bhaktas who had not taken initiation from Srila Gaudiya Maharaj, but they were going to, but then he passed away. So they were all going to go because we would preach Guru Tattva, that you should always go and hear from a pure devotee. We were not bothered about institutional this, that. We were within ISKCON, but we had a completely different philosophy, okay? And they let it happen because I had standing in the society, so they said, well, at least they're under Govinda, so it's okay. So everybody was going, but I was temple president and I couldn't go. And I was the one who had more attachment than anybody else for Gurudev than everybody else. So I became sick. I had a fever. I can't go. Then this devotee rang me up and said, look, we should go and we should follow him and we should hear what he's saying. Then at that point, I said, Haribol, Haribol. Officially, as a member of ISKCON, now I had permission to go and hear all of Gurudev's classes. That's how the thing where they say I was a spy. This is where this came in. So then the day before Gurudev was to arrive, the secretary rang me up. He said, I can't go. I said, why? He said, my wife said that if you go and hear from him, you may get caught up and you may start following him. So she has forbidden me to go. But you go and you be our representative, like this. So this way I was free. So Gurudev came. This was now something like June, July of 1996. And he came and we welcomed him. Vrindavan Vilasini was there. Shamrani Didi was there. So many devotees were there. It was amazing. And like that, Gurudev left and everybody went with him. And I could go because I was the GBC representative, like the spy, as they say. But nobody knew that I was already in Gurudev's pocket. Gurudev had already, my heart was there, totally. So we're traveling, and then I'm traveling with Gurudev and the group, and I was staying in my van, my Goranga van, which is like really nicely kitted out. And Gurudev, Madhav Maharaj, then he was Naveen Krishna Brahmachari. I would go to them and I would tell them, yes, the GBC, ISKCON, they're planning this. And whatever was going on in ISKCON, then I was telling them, right? And at first, Madhav Maharaj was not trusting, what's this, what's his game, you know? But I was with them fully. I was with them, 150% I was with them. So then what really solidified, what really was the confirmation for me was one night I was in my van. We were hearing Gurudev, and when Gurudev came, he was speaking just small, like Sridham Saka. He had a small place in Ratlet near the manor. It could barely fit like 10, 15 devotees, and we squashed in there, and Gurudev would speak, and it was like Vraj was just filling the room. It was like so sweet. And then when I went back, I was in my van by myself. And then I was remembering Srila Gaudiya Maharaj. And then I just started crying and crying and crying and crying and crying. Then I knew that, oh, that Gurudev, that this is confirmation, he's my guru. Because when Srila Gaudiya Maharaj left his body, Bhuvaneshwar, all his disciples, they were uncontrollably lost in tears. It was like wailing. And practically the only person that wasn't crying was myself. And I just said, I'm a hard-hearted person. I just took it. But by hearing Gurudev's Harikatha, then that created my attachment so deep for Gaur Govinda Maharaj. Then I knew that this really is my Shiksha Guru, because he's increasing my attachment and my love and affection for my Gurudev. And so then, in this way, Gurudev, he finished his tour in Europe. Then he went to America, Badger, and the rest is history. So then when it was time for Kartik, pretty much our whole temple was going for Kartik, and we had a lot of young devotees. So what I did was, I had many sannyasi gurus in ISKCON come and give Harikatha in our temple. And then I also was speaking very strong Guru Tattva, very, very strong Guru Tattva. And then when it was time for going for Kartik Parikrama, then all the young devotees say, we're going on Narayana Maharaj's Parikrama. Yeah? So then I thought to myself, my job is done. I've done a good job. I said, why? I mean, this Maharaj came, and that Maharaj came, and that Maharaj came, that Maharaj. Why are you going with Narayana Maharaj? He said, because we want to take shelter of a Mahabhagavat. They may be Madhyam, but we don't feel they're on that level. We want that. Then I was like, okay, this is good. So me also, I went on that parikram. By that time I resigned as temple president because it was too much, it was too much friction. Actually, one devotee was giving me a hard time, one of my god brothers. He was giving me a hard time, right? And I said, okay, I resign, you become temple president, not knowing that he also had become so attached to to Gurudev that he also was going. So that was Janardhan, Spanish devotee. So then we went for parikrama, and then all those devotees, Acharya Ratna, Tarun Krishna, Amal Krishna, so many, they all went, they took shelter of Gurudev. Okay. So then for me, I thought, you know what? I've had it with institutions. I mean, respectfully, I got so much from ISKCON. I owe everything to ISKCON. Best days of my life I've had with ISKCON. But there was a time that I said, okay, this is time to make a split. You know what? I'm just gonna chant, do bhajan. I can distribute books and maintain myself, no problem, and just do sadhu sangha. And this is gonna be my life for the rest of my life. Okay. It's just been too traumatic. So then that time, Gurudev, he called me into his room in Keshevji Gaudiya Mat. His room was on the same floor as the temple room. As you come out the temple room on the left-hand side, that was his room. So then he was there, Premananda Prabhu was there. Madhav Maharaj was not there, I don't think. Maybe one other person, something like that. So then Gurudev, he said, okay, so now all these devotees are initiated. I want you to take care of them. Then I said, Gurudev, whatever you say, I accept you as my Shiksha Guru. I said, but I have one doubt. He said, what is that? I said that Srila Gaudiya Maharaj, he was very, very strong about not leaving ISKCON. Very, very strong. So I said, I don't know that I can just leave like that, because his mood was very strong on this. On this point, there's something else, but I will. Because one time, Srila Gaudiya Maharaj was speaking very strong about leaving ISKCON. Then some devotees who had left, they came to him after meeting with the GBC. This was like 95. And then they told him what the GBC has said about they have to change their preaching about the jiva and all this. And then after they left, Gaudiya Maharaj, he looked at us, he said, that they're thinking to come back to ISKCON. They should have asked me first. I would have told them, don't bother. So, you know, he had adjusted his position, actually. So anyway, I told him this, and then he said, Guru gives two types of instruction. One are eternal, and the other are periodical. He said that this instruction is periodical that he's given, that if he sees what's going on now, that he will not give the same instruction. So then when he told me like that, then I said, okay. I said, so I am a weak, conditioned soul. I said, so I'm going to take a leap of faith here, and I'm going to do what you tell me. But please, I'm begging you that please, you always catch me. And Gurudev, so far, so good. And only if I forcibly, if I make aparad, I'm confident that there's no problem. So then we went back. What time is it now? Okay, how much time have I got? Tell me, so I know how to finish.
Maharaj, you can speak 15 minutes more, yeah.
15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we went back, and the GBC, Shiv Maharaj, he sent a car to pick me up at the airport. You know, very high profile thing. And they drove me to his place. And then he said, okay, Govi, we can tell, because Shiv Maharaj is my friend. I haven't seen him for decades, but we were good friends. So he said, we can just tell them that the devotees didn't know what they're doing, that they're sorry, and they give back their Harinam, their initiation. I said, Maharaj, I'm tired. Everybody knew exactly what they were doing. So you do what you have to do, but we're with Srila Narayana Maharaj. So then he said, okay. So then immediately he put out a letter to the whole congregation that we tried our best to stop Govinda and devotees from leaving, but without it failed, blah, blah, something like that. So then in this way, we just started our own mat. And then, because basically the whole temple, just what Sri Rasamrita predicted, that's happened. The whole temple left and went to Gurudev, okay? And we had apartments across the road. And we started our first Gaudiya mat right across the road from ISKCON. We were having simultaneous Sunday program. It was a bit crazy. So Gurudev, his contribution, as I see from my very conditioned self, is how anybody who comes to Gurudev. So Gurudev, there's so much talk that Gurudev he's preaching only about Radharani, this and that. But when Gurudev came, then he grilled us in Upadeshamrita, that we should understand what is Shikshastakam. He was grilling us on Rup Shiksha, Sanatan Shiksha, and teaching fundamentals. And then in between, he was also giving us so much higher philosophy. But he was very much grounding us in the flow. That what I learned from Srila Gaudiya Maharaj, it was very seamless for me to come to Gurudev, because Srila Gaudiya Maharaj had given so much foundation in Siddhanta. And also every Saturday, Gaudiya Maharaj would speak Chaitanya Charitamrita and go into Gaur Tattva, Radha Tattva. So when I came to Gurudev, it was not new, but it was just more detailed. More was there. You see, so it was much easier for me than practically all the Prabhupada disciples, or except if they'd been with Gurudev for years before, because of being with Srila Gaudiya Maharaj. And so he systematically spent so much time just training us when we were on the road, that we have to get up and speak on this, speak on that, speak on this, speak on that. But through it all, then Gurudev was imbuing within us this greed that we should always aspire for Palyadasi Bhav. That this is Gurudev's speciality. That when Gurudev would take us to Govardhan and we do Govardhan Parikrama, that Gurudev, he said that many people come here, many devotees come and they pray for so many things. He said, and Giriraj, he gives them all these things. He said, but when you with me, you will not be cheated. That you only pray for Palyadasi Bhav, to be a maidservant of Srimati Radharani. I said, Gurudev, this is very high for me. Well, then he said, okay, so you just pray to be with me. You pray that you're always with me. Why? Because if you're always with Gurudev, then automatically you'll be there in Palyadasi Bhav. Automatically. Sometimes the body asks me what book to read. You read Venugit, and in Venugit, you're getting all kinds of Siddhanta. At the same time, you're getting Sambandha with the Brijbasis, with Srimati Radhika, with Shamsundar, and you're also getting all this Lila Katha. Gurudev, he's so beautifully woven everything in, that is just like it says, Nigama Kalpataro Galitam Phalam, Shuka Mukat Amrita is Amrit, which is coming. And he's put it so nicely that all you have to do is just read his books, and automatically you have Siddhanta, you have greed, you have Sambandha, and next thing only you have to just do is put your hand in the bead bag and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Just get up early in the morning. Very important. I'm preaching for myself. Getting up 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, that will not do. That will not do. One time I came for a morning walk. I was late. Gurudev said, where were you? I said, I was taking rest. He said, no, don't do that. You get up early like me. One time I went to him, I said, look, I'm chanting. I was chanting many rounds, but still so much in my heart. And I was going angry, crazy. What's going on? And then he said, oh, do you sometimes get up at 1 o'clock in the morning and chant? I said, no, 1 o'clock, no. He said, that's your problem. That's it. And I always remember that Gurudev has given everything to us, actually. He has totally given everything to us. That we may take help along the way. Definitely may take help. I take help along the way. Take help. Of course I take help. But I know that it only help to go into what Gurudev has given us. Into what Gurudev has given us. Because I'm so weak, I'm such a rascal that I need help. But Gurudev, really, he has given everything to us in a very special way. In a very, very special way. It says, Chirada datam nijagupta vitam, swaprema namamrita ati udara, apamara yo vitatara gora, Krishno janebhyas tamaham padye. Chirada datam, after a very long time, Chirada datam nijagupta vitam, that which is hidden, that treasure. What treasure? That prem. Which prem? Is it Vaikuntha prem, Dwarka prem, Mathura prem? Prem in Vraj is Sakiras, Vatsalya Ras. In Madhurya, what kind of prem? Gupta Vitam, Swaprem Namamrita, that Amrit of prem, that nectar of prem, that Manjibhav, Ati Udara, that very, very mercifully. So Gurudev, very, very Ati Udar. Udar means magnanimous. Ati, he's so much magnanimous that that which has not been given for so long time, that Gurudev is coming and give it to who? Apamara yo vitatara gura. To those who are very, very fallen. He said, you come, you take this, you drink this nectar. Gurudev has come. And he's forcing us. Like Rupa Goswami is praying, is it Rupa to that Rupa Raghunath Das Goswami, that he's forced us to take this. We don't want. But Gurudev, he's forced us to go on parikrama, forced us to undergo those austerities. When we were undergoing those austerities and coughing in Kartik and sneezing. But now when we think of the coughing and sneezing, oh, those days are like the sweetest nectar, the sweetest nectar. So sweet. We just think and we cry remembering. This is Gurudev's mercy. That for me, I don't know anybody who has done like Gurudev has done. Srila Prabhupada has gone and conquered the whole world. But how Gurudev has given this Vraj Bhav to the whole world, nobody has done like Gurudev. And that's why Gurudev is respected by all Vaishnavas who really are Vaishnavas, who know Siddhanta, who know Tattva, who know Ras Katha, all of them. They don't just respect Gurudev, they love Gurudev. In whichever camp they are, they all love Gurudev. Because Gurudev is unprecedented. He's totally unprecedented. So I just pray to Vaishnava. Let me see what else I can speak about Gurudev. Because now my time is up, huh?
We can speak a few more minutes, 5-10 minutes if you want.
So, as Gurudev has given us so much, definitely we cannot repay, but we have to try. We have to try. And how we repay? Just by following his instructions. Gurudev told us, do not be weak. Do not be weak. He has given us all energy, but now it is up to us to take that and move forward. And we know what we have to do. Rise early, do our Harinam, do our Anik, read Gurudev's books. If we need, we go and we get association with those who are favorable to Gurudev, who are favorable to our line. Like this. And in this way, Gurudev, he said that, well, I'm closer to you than the air breeze. I'm always with you. Then Gurudev is always with us. He's always helping us. And also to our capacity, then we go and we preach. We go and we preach. But if we're preaching and we are not doing any proper sadhana, then that preaching, apanina kwali bhakta sikananayoy, that's shiksha that we're giving, it will not have effect. That we should have good sadhana. That in emergency situations, we may go and do preaching and our sadhana may not, but we should have time that we really dedicate ourselves to being in this kunj that Srila Gurudev He has created where we can do our seva. That Gurudev has created is this kunja is there for us to always, and we should always be in that kunja, actually. We should always be in that very sweet kunja where Radha and Krishna are performing their pastimes, or we should be in separation of serving, assisting Gurudev in that kunja. Gurudev has come and he has given to us, to one and all, a pamara yo vitatara gora, to those who are apamara, that he's very magnanimously, he's come and he's given. So in this way, we try and repay by really following these instructions which Srila Gurudev has given to us. And don't be weak. What we need to be strong, then we should take advantage of that. Don't be weak. Don't be weak. One thing Srila Gaudiya Maharaj used to always say is that to achieve your goal, you should be ready to break all barriers. This is my motto in life. To achieve my goal, anyway, Vanchakalpa Trubhischa Kripa Sandevicha Patitanam Pavnibhyo Vaishnavebhyo.
No. Thank you so much, Maharaji. Thank you so much. I remember one incident with you, I think in 97 in Parikrama. You came to me, I don't know if you remember or not, you came to me in Govardhan and you said, Ajay, the thing which we are aspiring for, do you know, here there are a lot of people who are already at that level. Do you remember that, Maharaji?
No.
Oh, you told me like this. I was just wondering, what have you realized today? I mean, you must have had some vision or you must have seen something. So you spoke to me like this. The thing which we are thinking about reading in the books, there are so many people here who are already at that level. So I had no experience and no anubhuti or anything, but probably I thought you had you saw something.
I don't remember that.
Okay. So this was really nice, Maharaj. You took us on a trip. We forgot where we are sitting, what we are doing. And
actually, I was going to speak today about Srila Gaudiya Maharaj and another day about Guru, but it's okay. No problem.
But it was very beautifully.
Yeah.
Yes, you intertwined very beautifully everything. It was really nice. And so you were in Soho, London, right? Initially.
I joined in Berry Place before Soho Street. Before Soho Street was gotten, there was another temple a few blocks away from there.
Okay. I had been to Soho a couple of times, and many times, in fact, because we used to fly regularly. And I met Ramananda once there in Soho. So I know on the first floor, the temple is there.
Yes, nice. Yes. Shri Radha Landanishwara.
Yeah, Landanishwara, correct. So it was very nice, Maharaj, and that how you started with Science of Self-Realization and Bhagavad Gita of Swami Maharaj. And then you described how you were crying and chanting that time. So this is the type of fire we should have in ourselves. We are only chanting, hardly crying. So I think if we can follow what you are doing, what you did, like crying and chanting, then only we'll get some help and some progress.
I was doing back then. Now it's another story.
Yeah, now I don't know what you're doing now.
Now it's another story. Now I am trying to come back to the level of chanting and crying by your mercy. By your mercy, it's possible.
You started with that, Maharaj. This is the first thing I wrote here. Crying and chanting, because this is what we need to do. Crying and chanting. We should.
This is all we need to do.
Yes.
Everything is in Harinam Prabhu. This is all we need to do. Cry and chanting. And that means separation mood. Somehow or other, we should be in that. We are separate, actually. So we should realize how we're separate. Even those who are Radharani in Adiruddha Mahabhav, when she's with Krishna, also separation mood is there. Yeah. And this is making the Milan even more sweet. It said that there's nectar and poison in one container. Milan and separation in one container. Mahaprabhu is tasting and Radharani is tasting. And for us, it's absolutely imperative that we cultivate that mood of crying in separation. That, oh, I want to serve Gurudev there in Vrindavan. That, oh, please help. If we cannot even do that, then come down the next level. I'm suffering in this material world. Please pick me up. Please help. From whatever level, be in that crying mood. This is most important.
Yes.
And getting up early. Getting up early. Getting up 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Okay, it's better than 8 o'clock, let's say. Hare Krishna.
I think this getting up early is also a very prominent point you spoke. And I think you spoke for me probably, because nowadays finishing so late, so I'm 5, 6, not earlier. But I think tomorrow onwards, I will take your word. And I think all of us should, what Maharaj is saying, like Gurudev said, do you get up at 1 o'clock? No? Oh, that's the problem with you. So we have to get up at like 3 or maybe 4 and then start chanting and do our sadhana.
If we have work and we can't do it, sorry for cutting off, then that's another thing. But then we should always pray that, oh, please make some arrangement for me that I can actually start to do sadhana. And in special situation, Krishna, he can adjust for one. But if we're in a situation where we can get up and we're not getting up, then this is another reason to cry.
So that's how we started chanting and crying from Soho temple, and then asking Prabhupada question and answer while reading the books. So this Maharaj is describing what Gurudeva has also said, that when I'm gone, you can read my books, and you ask me questions, I will reply. He is told like this. And then you talked about your mother, who was also initiated by Gurudeva. So that's a big fortune that your family, whole family is attached to Gurudeva. And you have been expert at book distribution from the very beginning. So this is one of the, I think, Gurudev's internal desires, that his book should go everywhere. And you are doing that very beautifully from very beginning. And
we should distribute his books, but
yes,
we should also not only read his books, we should enter into these books.
yes.
These books should be circulating in our body. So then when we're chanting, automatically, the beautiful atmosphere that Gurudev has created in his books will be the atmosphere which surrounds us in our chanting. Because when you're chanting, you're hearing Harinam, but you have other part of the mind that's sometimes going here and there. So that here and there should be in the mood that Gurudev has created, which is creating a very nice atmosphere for Harinam.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes, Maharaj. So you should enter the books, and then Gurudev used to say always that what you're distributing, have you read those things? So first you should read and be in that mood which Gurudev is giving in his books and in his lectures, and then only we can do that. And then you described how when your guru fell down, then you took shelter of Prabhupada, and how you saw he's telling you to get up. Soldiers, do your duty, go out and fight again. So that is what Guru is always keeping you up and your morale. So always your shelter was Prabhupada, as you described. And then you went to Vrindavan for higher studies. Oh, then you talked about Gaur Govind Maharaj. I have never met him, but I have so much respect for him. I had seen few of his videos. He speaks so forcefully as you were talking. And then he made hand gestures that you have to believe what he's saying. I mean, it goes into your head. He grills it into your head by speaking so forcefully. But
he's a teacher.
Yes. And once I remember he was saying, you consider yourself low, at lowest level. That is best for bhakti. So the way he was showing his hand and talking so forcefully, it just sat into my mind that what he's saying is something out of his deep realization. So he was like that. And the other side you described today, which I never knew about, that he was such a frail otherwise and talking so softly. I thought he would probably talk all the time like this because I have never met him. But now today you described that he was very soft-spoken otherwise. But in his lectures, he was so loud and ferocious, like a lion actually, yeah. And then you described this lineage of Gaur Govind Maharaj, which was amazing. Such a high lineage coming from Narottam Das Thakur himself. And the story of Gopal Giri and Gadai Giri and his grandfather Bari, Bahadur Giri, and Kirtaniya Sadahari, which he's personified. And then you describe how he read Venu Gita and stayed up whole night to read it, Gaur Govind Maharaj. I mean, Gurudev, when how he was into the thoughts and books, like you said, he was addicted to it, which is how, if we have the desire, we'll be also like this, that if you know something, we're going to finish tonight only. So Maharaj
From the time he was small, could just read Bhagavatam was his only Bhagavatam.
Yeah. And how he would write diary to Gopalji every day. And and then how the astrologer described his, he said that he's been sent by Krishna to propagate bhakti. Yeah, about Gaur Govind Maharaj. And then you described how he went unconscious. I mean, that is so amazing. I have never seen anyone go unconscious myself, like you described in As Satvik Bhav. We have only heard Chaitanya Mahaprabhu going unconscious in the books, but you have described that Gaur Govind Maharaj went unconscious, and he was walking into walls, walking into balconies for 3 months. He was in that bhav.
If you go on YouTube, you just Google Gaur Govind Maharaj and then Lagudi, Lagudi. That's the devotee who took care. And he describes, he was the person that was with him. Gaur Govinda Swami and then Lagudi.
Okay, I've written it down, Maharaj. I will look for it. Because this is something really amazing. I mean, what description, how we, for 3 months. And then you talked to reorient it to material world, it took some time. I have heard in some other places that people who are like this, who keep going on different realms, they become a little away from their own physical bodies. So sometimes it takes time for them to couple up again properly. And mostly these people, they leave early because they are so away from their physical bodies. That's what I've read somewhere. So they don't live very long because they are not able to again come back and fix it well with their physical bodies, because the attachment is gone totally. So same thing, I think Maharaj was also a little away from his physical body and into a different realm. And how he described that ISKCON leaders as cloud and he is as sun.
Okay, go past all that. Go past all that.
Okay. So what was most touching was the story how he left Maharaj. That was the most touching, and you took us in a totally different realm that you spoke about, and how he had Gopalji on his chest, and then he so beautifully left this world. That was so nice, about how from Dwarka Krishna, Balram, and they all came and the eyes became big. That was very, very beautiful. And then your final story with coming with Gurudev, how you are like spy and how you gave your heart to him in his first meeting. But was I can understand your position being such a high level in ISKCON and temple president, and then your heart is already gone with Gurudev, and you are hiding it, covering it, but outwardly you are still with ISKCON, and it is so difficult. And how Gurudev made everything so easy when he came to London, that everything happened by its own. I mean, the other person went and gave an invitation to Gurudev, the GBC told you to go. So Gurudev worked everything out for you. If you have a desire, and if you're giving your heart to Gurudev, rest of the work is his. Actually, I've seen most of the time.
Yeah.
A lot of people who have come and spoken here, you just need to have a desire to be surrendering to Gurudev. Even now, people who have not even met, if they surrender to Gurudev, he will arrange everything for you. And if you want to do any seva, he will arrange for it also.
This is amazing.
Yes, you might be like you are in such a difficult condition, I can imagine. Like you are stuck from all sides, being in such a high position and then not able to go, but wanting to go. Rest everybody, or junior brahmacharis are going, but you are the one who is feeling most for Gurudev and you're not able to go. So it is giving you sort of viraha bhav also. Like, why I'm not able to go, And then eventually, finally, after that viraha comes to a level, Gurudev just opens the door for you and you just go and hug him and meet him so nicely. So very, very beautiful, Maharaji. Very nice. So many things to say, but I'll skip most of them. And Maharaj, then lastly you described Gurudev as that we should drink the nectar. He's forcing us. Gurudev is always giving the nectar by force, even if you don't want, but he still give us. He promised to us that once you have come to me as a disciple, it's my responsibility to take you there. Even if you're not willing, even if you go to Narak, I will go to Narak and pull you out from there. Maharaja said that. I will go to Narak and pull you by your shikha. So he put it into parikramas and austerities. Even his last words from after the parikrama in Govardhan, he said that you should always do parikrama. And come to Navadip Dham, I'll be there. That's what he said from the door. Yeah. And he's still there in Navadip all the time in his samadhi. He's there. So and finally you said that everybody, all Vaishnavas, people who are actually Vaishnavas, they love Gurudev, whichever camp they are, which we are seeing now that even people from ISKCON are speaking up for Gurudeva so much. So now we can see that how he was universal, regardless of any institution or anything. Anybody who could love him and he could love anybody. He had most of the disciples were initiated by other acharyas, but Gurudev gave them such a high place and a lot of respect. And to you also, Maharaj, I've seen myself with my own eyes. He used to respect you so much. In parikramas, he will always give you mic to lead the kirtan. I have seen that with my own eyes in Nandagaon and so many places. So he always gave so much respect, especially to people who have been initiated by other acharyas and who are at a certain level already. Like we were so new that time and we hardly knew anything, but you had already come at a certain level. So he would respect so much all this time. And finally, you said we should follow and follow and follow. We should get up early. Most important thing we learned today, get up early, do Harinam while crying. So if you can do these two things from tomorrow, our sadhana will increase tremendously, I think. If we can get up early, start chanting and start crying, start missing Gurudev, start missing Krishna. And we also said one more thing. If you cannot do that bhav, palyadasi bhav, then at least have that bhav that I want to follow my Gurudev. So we are not, I think I am not qualified to have that palyadasi bhav. I do not know anything about it. I have no experience, nothing. But what I can think, as you have told today, that I should endeavor to follow my Gurudev and remember him all the time. If I can do this, I think rest everything will follow as a consequence. And all of us should do this. Thank you, Maharaj, so much.
Thank you.
You want to say something?
Gaudiya Maharaj used to always quote verse from Shikshastakam. Ayinanda tanuja kinkaram patitamam vishame bhavambudo kripa tava padapampuja sita duli sarasam. That, O son of Maharaj Nanda, that I am your eternal servant, but due to my sinful activities, I've fallen into this ocean of material existence and I am suffering. So when we're chanting Harinam, Srila Gaudiya Maharaj said that with this mood, that, oh, I'm suffering, falling this ocean of material existence, and I'm being bitten by these crocodiles of lust, anger, greed, envy, madness, illusion. So please, oh Krishna, oh Gurudev, please pick me up and give me shelter. So in this mood, we can chant, crying, please pick me up, please pick me up. And if somehow, by Gurudev's mercy, we've come to that point that we can absorb ourselves in service, or the aspiration of service to Radha and Krishna, then even more, we can yakin karishu bahusha kaluka kuvani nityam parasya purusasya sikandamule tasya kada rasanide vishabhanu jaya tatkeli kunja. That, oh, yakin karishu bahusha, that praying to one of the maidservants of Srimati Radharani, that please, that Krishna, that eternal Lord with a very beautiful peacock feather, and Srimati Radharani, the daughter of the king of Raj, that please allow me to at least be one stick in the broom that is sweeping the kunj. Means like be just some insignificant place, but let me also be a dasi serving Radha and Krishna. If we're fortunate that, oh, this kind of mood is coming naturally, then we can also pray. But whatever level, cry, hanker. And this hankering will create a burning in the heart that will burn up the those things which are obstacles so that we can achieve our goal. And sadhana means we have to do every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, unfailing. There may be some emergency where we have to do something else, but we should keep it like breathing, like eating. Then our sadhana should be like that.
Thank you, Maharaj. I think you're actually given the key to whole bhajan actually. If we can do what you told just now, our bhajan will start with great force, I think. And you're told different levels also so beautifully. That first level we can cry like Ainand Tanuj Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishnu Bhavam Bodho Krapyata Path Pankaj. So we can, like you said, we are fallen. And then next level also described by the grace of Guru, if we can get the bhav naturally. Not that artificially we have to impose, but naturally as we can get, then that's the next level. So thank you.
Even
Maharaj.
second shloka, Shikshasakam, second shloka, that, Nannama Kari Bahudani Jasava Shaktis, Tatrapita Niyamita Smarne Nakala, Etadrishi Tabakripa Bhagavama Mapi to dive and Midishava. That you have prepared in so many names, but I am so unfortunate that I do not have taste. So we may not have taste, but I'm so unfortunate I don't have taste. But please, Harinam, please be merciful. Please, 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 please remove these anarthas so that I can actually start to serve you nicely. Yeah?
Yes.
Different. This is another level.
Yes, yes. So this is the real bhajan what Maharaj is describing. Normally we are just doing plain Harinam without any bhavs in it, without any crying, without any hankering. So that is also good, but not as good as what Maharaj is describing just now from his own experience, from his own anubhuti.
No, from Gurudev's words. My experience is playing basketball.
No, Maharaj, I can't believe that. You have a lot
Trust
of
me.
You have a lot. You have told me way back in
I have one quality. One
you don't
quality
remember.
I tell the truth.
You have told me 97. The realization that here there are people who have reached that level. You have seen that level. You have forgotten, but I remember it was so well that you've spoken. So we must follow how acharyas are doing, how senior Vaishnavas are doing, and Guru Maharaj has given us a hint. We should take it and we should follow what he's doing. Harinam with hankering, with crying, with passion, with wanting things, remembering those shloks, second shlok what Maharaj has told, and then fifth shlok. So this way we can improve our bhajan and we can really achieve what we want. We'll start having some feeling and we can get. Thank you, Maharaj, so much for being with us. It's a little late. And I thank all the listeners also and those who are going to listen later. Thank you so much for being with us. Tomorrow again, we'll be there at 8 o'clock, same place, same time. And we'll have Bhakti Vedanta, Pujapad Bhakti Vedanta Sadhu Maharaj with us. He'll be there tomorrow. So don't miss it. It will be a very interesting session once again. Yeah. And Dandavat Pranam Maharaji, Shri Gurudeva Maharaj ki jai. Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please
forgive any offenses.
Pujapad Bhakti Vedanta Ashram Maharaj ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrand ki jai. Gaur Bhakt
Jai.
Harinam
Jai.
Sankirtan ki jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanande.
Haribo.
Dandavat Maharaj.
Jai Dandavat.